Once again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this podcast from DKMS. My name is Mark Rigo, and I'll be a facilitator for today. We've heard in our previous podcasts from doctors, we've heard from stem cell donors, we've heard from the organizers themselves, from the foundation, DKMS itself. But it gives me immense pleasure, and this is perhaps the most important podcast that I am personally looking forward to. And remember, as you all probably know, I'm also a cancer survivor, but this is going to be, I think, the most exciting and the most important podcast because I've got with me a very, very special person, a person that was diagnosed before with thalassemia, and he's here today along with his father, and first of all, I must say I love the colors that they're wearing. They're my kind of happy colors. They look happy people. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our little hero over here, Chirag, and his father, Vikas. All right, Chirag, first of all, thank you for being here today. You're a brave guy.
My pleasure.
Right? And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Chirag Chandra. I'm 14 years old. I study in class 9 in New Horizon Gurukul. And some of my interests and hobbies are, and these days I like playing badminton. And interests are more towards the studies, especially in physics and maths.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. You play a lot of badminton now?
Yeah.
So that means you're feeling absolutely fit, right?
Yeah, 100%. Right.
And even though you're wearing a mask, I can see you've got a nice broad smile underneath that. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? All right. So, Chirag, when you first found out that you had thalassemia, what was your immediate reaction? How did you feel? I mean, were you feeling ill or?
No,
how did it come about?
You
don't mind talking about this?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So, I was diagnosed with thalassemia major at the age of 3 months. At that time, I was very small. Till approximately the age of 4 to 5 years, I was not aware of anything much because I didn't know what this is exactly. But as soon as I started approaching 7, 8 years, then I started questioning my parents that why only me? Why do I have to go every 3 weeks for transfusion? Or my sister was also there with me, so I was like, why is she not going? So I had these kind of questions at the time when I got to know what is this disease exactly, what it has happened to me. Because when I was small, I was really not aware of all of these things.
All right. So you're actually telling us that you had this from the time you were a little kid?
Yes, from the age of 3 months.
Okay. And then what happened? I mean...
usually we used to go every 3 weeks for transfusion.
Mm-hmm.
And then approximately for 4-5 months, we used to go visit Dr. Revati in Chennai related to this. I think at the age of 8 years to 2 years before my transplant, we had found the HLA typing match of this donor worldwide.
Okay.
But at that time, the situation was not very stable and they were not very sure of a non-genetic match for stem cell donation or transplant.
Mm-hmm.
So we did not go forward with the bone marrow transplant.
Mm-hmm.
But later at the age of 10 years, the same match, same donor, he was just 2 years older, and that time the doctors were confident to go on with this transplant.
Can you talk us through that process, maybe that day, how you felt?
Yeah, my transplant was on 23rd December.
Okay.
2016.
2016, so that's just a few years, 4 years ago.
4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
23rd December 2016. Before that, we had the match. We lived in Bangalore.
Okay.
So we had gone for a visit for Dr. Revati, and she was ready to go forward with the transplant. There were many tests that happened, and then afterwards, we had planned that at December we will go forward with the transplant. At the starting, I was very scared. I didn't know such a thing that exists that can, stem cell donation of stem cell, bone marrow transplant. I was very small.
So you must be in what, about 8, 9 years old?
I was 9 years old.
9 years old.
9 years old I was. So I was not very aware about all of these. So I was very scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was very scared. But later, when it was the time of transplant, I was very positive. I had a very positive approach, and I was very happy, and I had the will that I'm going to get out fine. So that helped me most in my treatment.
All right, that's really, really, really brave of you.
Yeah.
And how did you feel the day that you went into the hospital, and what did the doctors do?
Yeah.
I'm sure you must have been scared.
Yeah.
But I'm sure by talking about this, you'll actually be giving a lot of hope to other
Exactly.
people, in the in the similar situation like this?
I was like at the day that I went to hospital, I was not very scared. I really had a very much positive approach. I was, although I was a little nervous, but I was not very scared. Before the actual transplant, from the day they infused the stem cells, we were taken into immuno ICU, and like the chemotherapy had started basically.
Okay.
All my my WBC blood count was brought back to 100. So like all of those treatment was starting, and the day that they actually infused the stem cells into my body, it was just like any other normal day in hospital. There was nothing more special, but I felt really happy at that time. I was very positive and I felt really happy, although I was a little nervous, but still.
So prior to receiving the stem cells, you
Yeah.
mentioned you had gone through chemotherapy.
Yes.
I know what it feels like because I've been through that myself.
Yes.
So that must have been a pretty difficult time, was it?
Yes, it was like like all my hair had started dropping and all of that. That was not that was a I was like at that particular time when my blood count is very low. Usually say that the immunity of the person is very low.
True.
So there's no chances of taking any risk. So they have to follow many protocols. So like it felt like that.
All right. And how long did the actual therapy last when you took the stem cells?
Close to 25 to 26 days.
Okay.
From the day I went into immuno ICU and the day that they discharged me from hospital.
And you came out feeling perfect?
Yeah, absolutely
Yep.
perfect. Yes.
And you've gone back to all your normal activities
Yes,
after that?
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
After the 6 months of transplant, I even started going back to school.
Brilliant. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the little hero that we have over here, Chirag. I hope his story has inspired a lot more people, first of all, to believe in the stem cell therapy, but more so, as he himself mentioned, we hope a lot more people will come forward or even just register to be a stem cell donor. And if and when the opportunity arises for you to actually donate, I mean, here's a living example. He's sitting right over there. All right, so Vikas, I know it's a pretty sensitive subject, but the very fact that you and Chirag are sitting over here and sharing your story with us, I'm sure is going to make a difference to many, many, many people, not just in Bangalore, not just in India, but perhaps around the world, and I thank you for that. So could you just tell me, because as Chirag's father, it must have been heartbreaking when you found out about this, right?
Exactly. So I think if I remember right, I was in Japan and my family was here and Chirag was born. So they were about to come back to Japan with me. So they did a routine test and we found hemoglobin to be really low. So there was a doubt that how it can be, HB can be 6. So we went through a couple of tests and then we found that there's a disorder called thalassemia. So we were not knowing about thalassemia, anything about it, what's the treatment, can it be permanently treated or not. And then we slowly discovered that, you need to do transfusion to survive. And then later on, there is a solution called bone marrow transplant. But yeah, it has its own complication and things like that. So then we came to know a little bit about bone marrow registries, how India lack in, number of registries or registered donors. So, but first thing what we approached was to have a sibling, and because there's a very bright chance if you do from sibling transplant, so it's always a very good chance of success.
True.
So first option was to try and go for another kid, and then we planned for our daughter, and then but unfortunately it was not a match. So then we started searching worldwide for a bone marrow donor. I mean, that took really long time because first the process of my daughter coming into this world, then testing, match, and all those
things. So your daughter's younger than Chirag?
Younger than Chirag,
right.
3 years younger than Chirag. So and then then there was no option. Then we were constantly in touch with Dr. Revati, and she's the transplant physician for Chirag, and then from her we kept knowing about the details and all. As Chirag mentioned, first we came to know when he was 8 years old about this donor, and in the worldwide registry there was 100% match for him, and that was the current donor. And when we came to know that time, doctors didn't had so many unrelated transplant.
True.
When you say unrelated, not from your sibling, but unrelated donor, even though it was 100% match, Scientifically, it was 100% match. But because the success stories were not enough to give us confidence that we should go for this. But we kept talking to doctor, and this was through DKMS registry.
Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but how did you come to know about the DKMS registry?
We were always going through the doctors. So whenever the transplant physician or hematologist does a search for him, he or she does worldwide. So during worldwide search, DKMS registry was also searched, and that's where we came to know about this donor through doctor.
How did you feel? You must have been quite elated.
Yes,
find out?
yeah. First time it was a mixed emotion because we were not knowing unrelated. We should go for it because it had its own mortality chances. So we were not very confident.
Because there are certain small risks
nitty-gritties.
also. Okay.
But when it knocked door again after 2.5 years, we kept in touch. Then Dr. Ravi said, can you talk to few of the parents and few of the children who has gone through the unrelated transplant? And with that, you'll get some confidence. So we talked to a couple of parents and their process of getting unrelated transplant, that too from DKMS. So it was very, very 1:1 match. Okay. So we could understand how the stem cell comes, what is the process, what medication they use, what time period we are talking about, and things like that. So with that, we got a lot of confidence by seeing the kid. My only whole and soul purpose is seeing him. If few recipients gets courage, and few donors also get courage to donate, seeing the result. When you do a science experiment, you always see the result and you get very elated. So that's the reason. So when we saw that kid who has done well with unrelated transplant, we got a lot of courage. My wife, both of us got convinced, and we went for it. And then after that, rest is history. So yeah,
right.
He's doing fine.
You heard it from Vikas himself. I mean, here we are as the father, okay, telling you that the only reason why he's sitting over here and sharing his and Chirag's stories with us is so that we give hope and courage to other people to come forward and donate, and to people who are going to be the recipients, not to be scared about anything. Vikas, how did you feel on the exact day that the transplant was happening? I mean, I'm a father myself. I've got 2 grown-up children. Sadly, I actually lost a child when she was just a few days old. So I know what it feels like as a father. But how did you feel, when he was going in for that transfer? You must have been pretty apprehensive, pretty nervous, scared.
Yes. So I was really scared. But I always thought that, Chirag is looking at me and my confidence, because that can shake his confidence.
True.
So from inside, I was damn scared, but from outside, I was showing him that that time he was into football, now he's in badminton. Every year his hobbies and interest changes. So
like all boys.
Like all boys, we were also there. So he was playing football those days, and I always said that when you run with a ball, you focus on the goal. So your goal is to come out of this, come out of all those transfusions which you had, and always think about the end result. And that's how, I try to motivate, pick myself up and pick himself, because everyone was looking at us. So I always kept focusing about the goal. I broke into day by day. So today, if doctor is telling everything is right, all reports are right, I worry about today. And that's how I dealt with it. So day by day only.
And how long was this, the entire healing, if I could use the term, healing process, till when you actually got a signal from the doctor saying that he's okay now?
Actually, the first 90 days is a little crucial in terms of the new cells coming up. So there are several stages and several protocols process around it. And there are intermediate tests where they test whether the old cell is not coming back and the donor cell is only growing. So that's called donor chimerism. And they do the periodic donor chimerism, and every time it should be 100%. When it is 100%, you know that older cells are not coming back. So all this 90 days was crucial. But if you say 6 months was kind of people now come to know about quarantine and everything. We went through that quarantine period
years ago.
That time, the 6 months where he was, initially we were in Chennai, for a month and a half, and then came back to Bangalore. In Bangalore also we were kind of quarantined. We were also not venturing outside, so that any infection can create a lot of
Absolutely, yeah.
issues.
Must have been
So,
a very
yeah,
trying time for you, the family.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but doctor kept evaluating every period, and then after 6 months, she gave confidence that he can go to school. He started going to school, but the medication was close to 1.5 years,
Okay.
because you have chances of small minor GVHDs also,
Yes.
graft versus host disease. So medication was little longer, but after that, once all the medication stopped, he started gaining weight, height, and everything.
So that you're trying to say now he's completely off?
He's
any kind of-
completely off,
Any
you know.
medication?
He's off medication after
Normal
2
diet, everything back to
is
normal?
Absolutely normal.
Superman back again?
Yeah.
There we go. If you had to send a message out, you must remember that a few hundreds, thousands, maybe a few millions will be watching this, and
Yeah.
to a lot of them, to me, you're a hero. To a lot of them, you'd be giving people a lot of hope. All right. So if you had to tell anyone or give them a message, what would that message be when it comes to the stem cell treatment and
Stem cell treatment. So like in this case, I would like to give message to two people: the people who are donating, and another the people who are receiving. So the people who are donating, I would just like to give this message that please be a committed donor. Your one committed donation of stem cells can save another person's life or give him a second chance in his life, like how I got. And then to the people who are receiving the stem cells, just wait, be patient. Just hang in there. Someone is already meant for you, and you will get a second chance in your life.
wow, what beautiful words and so well spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, how much more inspiring can this get? I mean, here we are, we heard from young Chirag, we've heard from Vikas's dad, we've got his lovely mother and sister sitting at the back watching over there. And all I can say is, I mean, it's small little stories like this, all right, that would perhaps give a lot more people faith, hope, that these things can be, well, if not cured, at least it could be fought. And I'd like to end by saying over here, the very fact that Chirag had a 100% matched donor, I mean, and you heard the donor was not even from India. And this is exactly what we are trying to do through DKMS BMST here in Bangalore, here in India. We want to spread this message across, and I can see Chirag nodding his head on the side, and I'm sure Vikas is also agreeing. We want to spread this message to each and every one of you out over there. We need a lot more people to come forward. At least register on our website. We're going to put up the website address down over there, because you never know. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean if you're going to register, you would be a donor. Who knows? Someday, someplace, we would find a match, and you could be that one person who could give another person like Chirag a second chance at life, or you could even save a life. So this is what we're all about here, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to end with this fantastic family over here, ma'am and the sister sitting over there. Thank you so much for, first of all, coming forward and sharing your story over here. It's very, very brave. Not everybody likes to talk about these things, but I totally commend you as a family. Chirag, I salute you, buddy. I really salute you. And I wish you the best of health, the best of luck, and hopefully one day where we'll probably see him at the Olympics winning a badminton medal for us. Possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you believe, you can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please help us register online, or otherwise just spread the word around. That's our website address, which is coming up on the screen. From myself, Mark Rigo, from Chirag, from Vikas. Thank you all. God bless. Good luck.
Thank you.
And let's make a difference to someone. Let's be a Superman today. Bye-bye.